Music guest hails from the mother city and was surrounded by music from a young age. Having grown up in a family of jazz music lovers, Boskasie is inspired by the sounds of Cape jazz, with her mother being a trumpeter and her dad a vocalist. As a teenager, she taught herself to play guitar before she began composing her own songs. Her debut EP, Memoirs, was released in 2016, shortly followed by her hit single, Week in Love, and two other songs, all airing on radio stations across the country. This year, she's collaborated with local hip-hop artist Cassper Nyovest on the song Move For Me. Well, Boskasie is here to tell us all about her music. It's great to have you on Morning Live. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I think it's always makes for an interesting dynamic to be a young person who's talented, who grows up in a musical family, because the influence starts from a young age.
Absolutely.
Tell us about that.
I think, as you said, the influence really starts from a young age. When I was growing up, true to Cape Town form, there's always jazz music playing in the house on a Sunday with your curry being cooked in the background. And so those aromas and mixed with the sounds is really something that informed my senses all together, and it made me really proud of Cape jazz music in general, and then also just how I go forward with the culture and music. You
lived in the Netherlands for quite some time, and I think that makes for a very colorful dynamic.
Absolutely.
Being South African, being colored with, racial dynamics and identity dynamics. Did you ever feel like you were in an identity crisis, especially when you were overseas?
Absolutely. So I was there during my pre-teens, which I think is a very, you're very impressionable at that age, right? And coming from Cape Town, as colored people, we already have this idea or this, this battle with who we are and just being stable in our roots. So going to the Netherlands, I was very proud to be from Africa. I was very proud to be South African. But then coming back to Cape Town, I felt like my own people wanted to be, there was this urge to be more Western than anything else. So it really confused me, and it really, I had to then find myself in all of it and say, okay, but I was just there, and I came back here to want to be more African, and be very patriotic and proud of where I'm from. And then, you get this identity crisis of a whole culture. And, and a community. It can be very conflicting. So it is very conflicting. So that actually informed my stage name, Boskasie, because it's an Afrikaans name. It's largely used in the colored community, especially in Cape Town. And it means boshare, it means big hair. Oh. So one of the places that I found my roots was through my hair, literally. It was like going back and just being proud of who I am in general, from the root. So having my hair natural was very important to me.
I love that, because it truly is. Our hair is part of our identity, part of our, things that we connect with, that, are who we are, essentially. So very interesting, and thanks for that explanation. Okay. Let's talk about your sound. Yes. Obviously, you had this jazz influence from, you growing up in your parents' home. Your dad was a vocalist. He had his style of singing that had, rubbed off on you in some way.
Yes.
But how do you then form your own musical identity, and how would you describe what your sound is?
I think, just as you said, it's hard to not form an identity without those influences, right? So my dad, my mom, my brother, my whole family in general, their influences, so the jazz influence. The Cape Town, there's a sound called guma that comes from Cape Town that the klopse use, that is something that we all grew up to. It's a sound that's on the streets all the time. And then you get the sounds that I grew up with in the Netherlands, which is like more punk and more rock and alternative. And so fusing all of that together and just allowing myself to experience all of that in a musical sense is what I've then termed my genre as eclectic. So I call my genre eclectic soul, because it's really just a fusion of sounds.
Right. Yeah. Just to wrap this interview up, Move For Me, the song that you did with Cassper Nyovest, has obviously been pretty big. Did you expect that? And what else is on the cards for you for the rest of 2019 and beyond?
With the actual song with Move For Me, I really didn't know it was going to be as big as it was. So it was a beautiful surprise. But I really think I was ready. I always say that you know, when something big happens, you've prayed for it at some point in your life. So when it happened, I was just like, okay, cool, it's happening now, and I'm here for it, you know. And in the future, I've just released my new single called Make Me Feel. I released it on Women's Day. And yeah, you can expect a lot more music from me, and collaborations coming up still this year, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, stay tuned.
We certainly will, and we will stalk you on social media. And once that album is out, you have to come back and tell us all about
certainly.
it. Thank you so much. That was Boskasie speaking to us about her identity and how that connects to her music. She is from Cape Town and of course grew up in a musical family. A big song that she's been a part of is Move For Me, which she did with Cassper Nyovest. Time for a quick break.